The first special session of 2020 was a very strong success for the people of Oregon. And now we can turn to getting ready for the next special session to rebalance the budget and focus on helping working Oregonians who are at risk in this pandemic. We came in to work on police reform and responding to the pandemic at the governor's request, and very pleased with the results. Tremendous amount of work done in 3 days. Actually all week long, a lot of public testimony and input on a range of issues that are really going to help people right now. When we live in a time when people are demanding police reforms and are worried about how their lives have been upended by the pandemic, it was really important for us to come in and do the work together. And you saw that. Sure, there's always, some bumps along the way, but members came together, legislators came together, we did good work, and we're gonna help people stay housed. We took a very strong step in police reforms today with the passage of 6 bills. And there's a new committee that will continue to work through the end of the year. So I feel like we have listened to Oregonians and have responded for our families, for our businesses, for our communities of color, and feel very good about the results. Well, there was no way we were going to solve the varied and many issues that are facing Oregonians right now. However, I think we took strong steps. One of the issues that my office followed very closely was making sure we could extend the governor's moratorium on evictions for both commercial and residential properties through the end of September, to give people some more breathing space to have a chance of covering some of their bills. Having that repayment period and the ability to say, okay, you need to start paying rent again on October 1st if you can, and anything that you owe, you get 6 months to repay it. That is really important for people. It's going to take a few months, I believe, for people to kind of get stabilized, get back on their feet, get back to work. And frankly, my Republican colleagues were not wrong when they talked primarily about the difficulties in the employment department, as did my colleagues. People don't have their unemployment in hand yet, so they need help to stay housed. I really think the foreclosure bill, those protections set a floor for the relation to how lenders have to work with borrowers as it relates to their mortgages, and is going to provide some predictability for homeowners. One of the things that's been very important to me when the pandemic hit and our economy went down the drain was to make sure that we didn't repeat mistakes from the Great Recession. We did a terrible job protecting people when things fell apart back in 2009. We're doing a better job now. Now, I am a little worried what happens in the fall, but right now, people now have certainty on July 1. They're not able to pay their rent. They're not going to get evicted. That's really, really important for folks. I think the fact that we finally got an adjustment in the universal service charge on telecom bills to pay for expanded broadband across the state is incredibly important. I don't believe it's going to raise people's bills because telecom companies who fought this tooth and nail don't have to raise the bills. They have a lot of fees on those bills. And I think they're at the end of the day going to absorb it. That's why they were so frustrated by the bill. There was a super duper lobbying effort to try to kill that bill. Having the broadband bill done, very, very important for what we all know today is in a pandemic, and frankly for the future, you need to have access to broadband. That's an equity issue. And certainly the police reforms, I cannot say how fantastic it feels to finally make significant progress. Sometimes you have that moment. Sometimes you have everybody focused on something that has to happen. And we made some important strides in a bipartisan fashion today. And I think we're going to keep pushing. We have institutionalized racism in quite a few systems and institutions in our country, and we have to get law enforcement right, and we have to see more changes, and just tremendous success today in moving that conversation forward. I just have to say, it's, again, these are very complicated things to do, to move this many pieces of legislation in a very short time. I think we've been at this for a couple months in a lot of ways, so I think that helped us. If you remember, we had the Joint Committee on the Coronavirus Response back in March. A large number of these issues were raised by that committee back in March. And so some of us have been mulling over these ideas, talking about these ideas, trying to get to this point so we can help Oregonians, especially as the governor doesn't seem poised to do any more executive orders. This was the time to step up. I've been so worried about what was going to happen on July 1 when the eviction moratoriums expired. And now I think more Oregonians are going to be able to sleep better, knowing that we have extended the moratorium. I think homeowners who need a little bit more protection to try to pay their mortgage are going to be sleeping better because of the work we did over the last 3 days. So we can't solve every problem, but I think we've made a huge step of listening to Oregonians and trying to make things better in a variety of ways. And I'm just really proud of everybody doing this under very difficult circumstances.